Illiterate Light live on Austin City Limits Radio. Last year, you played Newport Folk. You played Lollapalooza. Yeah. We met at Bonnaroo. We were talking a few minutes ago, before this started, about not having the moment where everything gets crazy, but the gradual
That's right.
climb. This is a band that's been together 10 years.
Yeah.
This has all been very deliberate.
Yeah, it's been a gradual. So we've been friends for 10 years, and but we formed Illiterate Light in 2015, so about 5 years. And it really does feel like this slow and steady kind of, there's a lot of momentum, but it's not that crazy. It's just kind of like we show up every day and we play the best show that we can. And we're so thankful for those opportunities. Bonnaroo was freaking awesome. I loved, as we were mentioning earlier, just being on that panel, and then the next day going back and seeing some of my heroes on the same panel, like Jim James and Shovels and Rope and those cats. And so it's been really cool. We've got some other festivals coming up this summer as well. But yeah, you're exactly right. It's like, and even for us right now, like this is our stripped down thing. We're totally raw and acoustic and intimate, but our live show is super heavy, and that's where we seem to kind of win fans and kind of show people what we're all about. Because I'm playing electric guitar and doing this foot bass thing. I've got the synthesizer I play with my feet. And then Jake's standing, full drum set, singing and dancing around, and strips halfway through the show, and a bunch of other things that are just, kind of madness up there. So that's what it's like for us. It's like being on tour, and every show is kind of where it's, where we're kind of showing what we're up to. It's gradual.
I saw one of these goofy 3 things I can't live without things
right.
online.
Yep.
And it makes sense because what I'm about to reveal, because... Well, first, folks know that you gentlemen toured on bicycles for a while, met on an organic farm. So very durable socks and underwear.
Yes, very important.
Were among your choices there. Apparently, you're part-time spokespeople for REI.
Yeah, I have no connection to this company. This is not a commercial, but
Except
people, check it out.
So you've worn those 7 years.
I've worn eight, 9. I have 7 or 8, pairs of these things. They're called Darn Tough Socks, and they're made by this awesome little mom and pop shop up in Vermont. You can get them at like REI and camping stores like that. But it's funny to be waving the wool sock flag so high. I'm glad you brought it back up because we're always looking for chances to plug them. But they're great socks, How many companies offer a lifetime guarantee for their socks? So,
well, I also feel like men, particularly music festival time, don't talk enough to each other about their underwear.
Yeah,
it's true.
It's a subject we're passionate about. Yeah, still looking for the perfect pair.
I speak openly about my panties. I'm pretty clear. I'm also on the wool train.
Woo!
Smart wool up here, though,
Dang, yeah. I'm still cotton, personally.
It's the first time we've had anyone reveal their underwear to a live audience.
You guys need to lighten up over here.
Yeah. A little less
I thought you guys
effective
were
on the
weird.
radio, but
How those tacos tasting?
No, I'm kidding.
your Uncle Steve was Steve Gorman from the Black Crowes.
Still is.
Still is. Well,
Yeah.
sort of.
He was. That's a
Sort
good
of.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw him talking about your band and how you showed him Napster.
I think he showed me Napster. They were probably, I can't speak at length about that because I was pretty young. I mean, when was all that really going? 2002 was when a lot of those lawsuits were
Maybe
happening.
even 99,
Maybe,
2000, yeah.
Yeah, so I would have been, 8 or 9 years old. I remember a lot of memories with the Crowes growing up. Napster was a big thing, but I always remember this one show so vividly that they played in Hershey Park in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and I was like 7 years old. It was on the Further tour, and we went early to Hershey Park, and they gave us these fast passes, and so basically you can skip all the lines. And so I'm the 7-year-old kid, and I love roller coasters, and I love candy. And I would soon come to find I love rock and roll too. But that day was like the moment where it's like, I'm hanging out with my uncle, we're skipping the lines, we're doing all these flips, I'm about to throw up from the amount of M&Ms I've eaten, and now we're backstage, and Chris Robinson comes up to me and he's like, hey, man, you want to blow pop? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And he's like, we're going to go into this backstage green room. This guy's name is Rat Dog. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, that's so funny. He comes out with these blow pops and stuff, and then standing on stage just looking out at like 6,000, tie-dye T-shirts and the crazy music. And I was just sold right then and there. I was like, rock and roll is my future.
You thought that's what it was always going to be, probably, too.
Yeah. I always get
Blow
bummed when
pops
we
and
do
sold
stuff
out
like
crowds.
this.
Just
where's the
tacos.
candy? Where's the candy?
Jeff's honestly just working towards the fast pass. He's just trying to.
That's my dream. Yeah.
He just wants to skip those lines.
On a darker note,
Let's go.
you've got a tune, I Want to Leave America.
Yeah.
This, until that tune, didn't strike me as, well, I mean, this stripped down is a folksy, Neil Youngish kind of thing.
For sure.
But that is a protest song in the folk tradition.
Yeah, we hope so. It was a song that it's funny to. I think we're figuring out where it wants to live in the world right now, because it's a song that we wrote in 2016, right after the election. Literally, that morning I remember going to sleep and waking up the next morning and just being like, holy crap, Trump won, man. And I've always been such a big Neil Young fan and junkie, and was one of the first artists that Jake and I really connected over. And so I studied history in college and learned about the youth protests of the 60s and the counterculture, and just, growing up with classic rock, that it was just the thing I wanted to study. But then learning about Neil and learning about, his protest against Nixon and his kind of the way he used his platform there, we're trying to kind of honor that, tradition and legacy and keep speaking out about things that we're passionate about. And so it's one of those song titles that some people get turned off by and some people get turned on by. But for us, I think we're just trying to speak openly about how we feel with, the way our leadership is rolling in this country. And so it's not really as much a anti-patriotic thing. I think we know how fortunate we are and how incredible of a country we live in. We just want the best for us and for everybody that lives here. So that's what I Want to Leave America is about.
And spoiler alert, it's got sort of a hopeful ending.
Oh yeah. We're hopeful guys at the end of the day. I think it's dark and heavy times. There's so much going on. There's this existential dread that's floating around that, we're trying to figure out what touring is going to look like in 20 years with climate change, and it's a really heavy time to be a human being, but it's also a great time to be a human being. It's a great time to figure out how to live more peacefully and happily. And so we're trying to kind of, ask those questions through our songwriting, and with our fan base and the community that gathers around us, figure some of these things out together.
Did I mention they met on an organic farm and wear same socks for 7 years? If that wasn't clear.